Welcome back to part two of creating a children's soundboard. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to actually make the sounds, and when we press on the screen, a sound will play. And my original plan was to have my wife record each sound, and this way, when my daughter was playing it, she got to hear one of our voices. But I ended up finding this very nice male and female voice online, and I figured let's just use those. It'll be a little bit easier and I can start with this next tutorial. Now, before we get started, I wanted to share where we got these sounds from. So let me open up Chrome here, and I found these sounds at freesound.org. And what this has is a collection of sound clips that you can use in your projects. However, when you guys use these, like for example, I searched one to find, hey, the number one, and I think I ended up liking this one by Margot Heston. Now, when you select yours, they will all have different licenses. Generally, they will have a Creative Commons license. Okay, what that means is you have to fulfill a certain requirement in order for you to use it in commercial or non-commercial work. So let's open up this, and they'll actually tell you what we have to do. So I'm allowed to copy, redistribute this in inmate format. I can remix, transform, build upon the material, and I can do this for any purpose, even commercially. So I pretty much have free reign of his particular work, with one exception. I have to give him credit. So I am giving him credit right now in the video of him creating the sounds. So if I was going to create a project, I probably want like a title screen in there saying, hey, I used somebody else's work. So Margot Heston, I would like to thank you for your voices. They were very, very good. And you can actually just play them to hear what they sound like. Here's one right now.
One.
Okay, so it's a pretty easy way to work on that. Okay, and I have them all here. I just finished renaming them. So when I put them in, I put all 18 files in here. I made it so it's nice and easy for me. So let's start adding them in. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Sound, and I'm going to create a sound array called Sounds. And I need a new sound, and there's going to be 18 different sounds. Okay, I will then import sound from Bad Logic Games, and then I'm going to start, same way I did this, is loading these things into the array. So sounds, and then we are going to then have sound 0 equal to, and we're going to do GDX dot audio dot new sound, and we need a file handle. So the way we're going to need to do this is we take a GDX dot internal files dot internal, and now we can put the string path in there. So it takes a little bit more work, but we're going to be loading up the female one voice. So it's going to be in numbers /1f.wave. Okay, so that will load that up. And I am going to I just want to test this out. So before we start doing everything else, that's a very good practice to be in. Okay, and it's an after the draw. So this is the ending the draw. Ending drawing on screen. So you don't want to do your updates or check things while you're drawing. Just do one thing at once. So we're going to do input here, and the input is going to be if GDX dot input, and is and then we have is touched on there. I think we have, nope, I thought we had just touch. Just touch, there you go. Okay, just touch. This way when you're touching it doesn't repeat all the time. Okay, if it was just touched, then what we're going to do is we're just going to play the sound. So we're going to do sounds 0 dot. Come on, go away. Sometimes I don't know what Eclipse is doing. Okay, and what we can do is we can do play. All right, so now if we hit save, it should, whenever we touch anywhere on the screen, or it should play our sound. So let's try, make sure that's okay.
1.
Okay, that's exactly what we want. I'm going to touch it one more time.
1.
Perfect. And if I go hold it down, nothing's happening. But if I double okay, it's perfect. So now we need to localize that area. All right, and then we need to alternate between the two sounds. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start localizing. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to create an integer or a boolean. Actually, we'll do an integer. Okay, so make an integer, and we're going to have voice, and we're going to say it's equal to 0. Every single time we touch, okay, we are going to add 1 to voice. Okay, and if, okay, and what we're going to do here is inside of this, we're going to do plus voice mod 2. Now what this is going to do is if we start counting by 2s, eventually what we're going to have is we're going to have our female voices on one side and our male voices on odds. So what's going to happen is if we multiply, we're just going to have everything at 0, 2, 3, 4, and this will automatically work there. So we don't have to add an extra if statement of where we're going to be putting things. So it's a clever way of doing two things at once. So let's do this real quick. This will create an error if we do not have a male voice. So we do need the male voice. So let's put that in real quick. And it'd be helpful if I spelled sound correctly. There we go. And then we have files.internal. And then we have numbers/11 male.wave. Okay. Now, in our particular thing, if we click anywhere on the screen, it should give us male, female, male, female. Remember, order of operations will say that we do the modular before we do the addition. So that's the reason why that works. Okay, click OK. Now, click once.
1.
Click again.
1. 1.
So
1.
now we have different values. But look, as I click in different places, it's only saying 1 right now.
1.
Okay, so now we want to localize things. So we're going to close this. Boom. So let's localize where we want to click. Now our pieces are 200 by 200. I know this because I drew this in the last episode of 200 by 200. I also happen to know when they start and start at the top left corner of them, or I'm sorry, bottom left corner of them. So as long as we pick kind of in the correct location, we're okay to go. So for the ones, okay, if, okay, we are between, if the x coordinate, so what we'll do is we'll get the x coordinate here. Int x equals GDX dot input dot get x, okay, and we're gonna get the y too. Int y equals GDX input dot get y. Okay, perfect. So I get where we clicked. So it's going to give me a coordinate. Okay. Now, one thing that you guys have to actually realize is since we do a lot of scaling, these particular points don't match up, okay, to where the other screen is. So we have to unproject them onto, or I'm sorry, I believe it's unproject them onto the screen. So let's try this. Now there's going to be a couple of things that I need to, or let's actually take a look. So we're going to do print. Let's print them out. System.out.println, and we're going to do x colon, and let's print out the other one, y colon y. So you're going to see a big change here. Okay, the big change is going to be every time we click, you're going to see that this doesn't really match up. So let's take a look. So I'm going to click right here.
1.
And you can see that I'm coming up.
1.
Okay.
1.
Now I click
1.
here.
1. 1.
And this is still my origin up here, and down here it is
1.
not. So I need to figure out. I could calculate it this way, but when screens change, it's going to be
1.
a big difference here. And like, look, my screen when I click
1.
here is only 670-ish pixels wide, or actually 675 exactly. But our resolution's a lot more than that. So what we'll need to do is we need to project it, or I'm sorry, unproject it. So the way we're going to do this is we are going to create a 3D point. Okay, so I believe it's called a vector 3, and we're going to do touch position equals new vector 3. Okay, and we're going to import this from libGDX. Okay, and we are just going to do x, y, 0. Okay, we don't care what the z is. Okay, then we are going to take the camera dot unproject, and we're going to do touch position. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll actually print these out before we'll even mess with it. I believe it's unproject. If it's not, it's project. So we'll go by trial by error here. So we'll do touch position, and then touch posh dot y. No capital on the T. All right, so we can now see what it's like there. So I think this will work. Okay, I click
1.
here. Okay, you can start seeing that
1.
this, right, the coordinate plane is starting there. Now there's a little bit of a rounding error here. That's okay. So this should be around
1.
0, good. And round 25 is when the pictures
1.
start. So
1.
that's about right.
1.
And coming
1.
over here, we're good to go. So now we're going to keep on focusing on just getting our local. So this is perfect. So now that we projected it correctly, and we don't need this anymore, but I'm just going to comment it out in case I ever have to try it out again. If we have if the x is greater than 25 and the x is less than 225, okay, that means it's going to be in the first row. Okay, so that means that we're going to have the well, not row, but first column. So that would be our 1, our 4, and our 7. Okay, so if it's there, and if our y, okay, and remember our y started off at our y is less than 884. And our y is greater than 684. Okay, I get these numbers from this right here. Then we're going to be playing this particular one. Okay. Now, I'm going to have, I just noticed that it started raining, so give me 1 second. I got to let some people out, so I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm going to merge these together a little bit later. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. I will be, now I have to learn how to clip videos together. So anyway, coming back into this, we got the, this right here should play our sounds when we click less than this amount and more than this. Now, I could be a little bit off. We'll find out, okay? And then I will just try and change them up. So it's really good to start with 1 and then keep working our way through. So let's try this out. That's not what we want. How about right down here? Where are you? Okay. So that's not doing anything. I'm trying to click everywhere. I'm getting 0 sounds. So let's come back in here. And first we're going to uncomment where we're clicking. Okay. Now, when we come back in here, this is a very good debug technique. So I want to look at where I'm clicking and seeing where it's coming true and where it's not. So if I click here, my X, okay, is currently at 1224, and that should be correct. Okay. Now the other one here, this so my X is fine. My Y is at 976. So I'm actually predicted where my click is be wrong. But let's see if I can get it to play a sound anyway. Okay, that's okay. This should play a sound, right? We have Y. Okay, there. But look, I used the wrong variables. That's what I did wrong. Okay, so let's look at this. When these x's shouldn't be x, remember the touch position dot x is what we have. I'm sorry, I completely did that wrong. So touch position, Okay. These numbers are still wrong, but we'll get to that in a second. So, but if we come back in here now, we can debug. That's correct.
1.
But we move down here.
1.
So
1.
I think I started here and I moved down. I should have moved up. So what I'm going to come over here is I'm going to add 200 to this number here, and I'm going to make sure that all of our numbers are above it and then below it. Okay. Now if I play this, I should only have values on 1.
1. 1.
Okay. And if you look, they're a little bit off. Not a little bit off, but
1.
1.
1.
okay, I'm pretty good there.
1.
1.
1.
And then I stop. So it's exactly the size of the number 1. So I might want to make it a little bit bigger in the future. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it a 5 pixel buffer, just so kids won't get irritated with it. Actually, I'll give it a 10 pixel buffer. So I'm going to subtract 10, then add 10 here, and then I'm going to do the same thing with X, subtract 10, and then add 10. So it's a slightly bigger buffer. Now, what we're going to do next is we're going to do the 4s and everything else like that. So let's load in all the numbers, because right now this is pretty much it. All we're doing is the tedious part of loading in everything else. Now we're going to hit copy and paste everything in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. And we are going to just change the values here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. All right, and now we're just going to just go through this list and just change 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 8, 8, 9, 9. Okay, so now that we loaded all those in to memory, okay, so now we just can come back here and then kind of position them, kind of like the same way we did here. Now, I am going to do I'm going to just copy this part in here real quick. Paste, paste, okay? So what we're going to be doing is we go down by 300 every single time. So if I subtract 300 and make this go to 5, and I make this go down to 7, that should be fine. If I do the same thing here, this would go down to 4, and this one would go down to 2. Okay, and pretty much this number here would be 3, because if this was 1, 1 plus, or 1 minus 1, it would be 0, so same thing there, and this one would be 6. Okay, so now the entire row should work, or column should work, with different numbers. So let's check that out.
1, 2,
3,
2,
3,
2,
3,
Okay, maybe not.
4,
4,
4,
4, 4,
Okay,
2,
so let's take a look at what's going on there. So, okay, so let's take a look at if I made sure that these go in the right location. Okay, so here we go. 0, 1. Oh, I forgot. You have to multiply these by 2 because there's 2 voices per thing. Or you could just put 12 in there. I think it's just a little bit easier for me to remember. If I just multiply it by 2, let the computer do the calculation for me.
1,
4,
7,
7,
4,
4,
Okay.
1.
1.
Okay, so that's perfect. So now that this works for me, I should be able to move to the next column. Now, since the y coordinate will be staying the same, we don't have to change that y coordinate at all. So we're just going to come over here. Okay. Paste again. All right. So let's look at this part here where we changed this value here. Now, the x coordinate changed by 250 instead of 300. So we have to change the x coordinate twice by adding 250 to this. So 250 added here would be 265, and 250 would be 480. We just moved it over. Now we'll have to do the same thing here. 1 times 2. Okay, 4 times 2, and 7 times 2. All right, and this should do the next row, and we'll do one more row after this, so we'll just copy this one again. Paste. Okay, and we're going to add 250 again, so this would be 515, and then this will be 300, 7. Okay. And then we just have to add 1 to all these things again. 2, 5, and 6, or I'm sorry, 8. Okay, so now we should have all the numbers pressing for us. So let's double check this.
1,
2,
2,
1,
3,
3,
4,
4,
5,
5,
6,
6,
7,
7,
8,
8,
9.
9.
Okay, that worked. So that's right there is where we're going to end today. So right now we actually have a working soundboard with working buttons, and they are joined programmably. So if we change a few things, we'll have to change a few other ones. But I think we're good to go on this particular one. And so next time, what we'll do is we're going to add a little bit of background and a little bit of flair. Not that big of a deal. It's very similar to tutorial 1. And we're also going to add some buttons on the other one on the bottom, and we're going to restructure our code a little bit so that we can put animal sounds and maybe car sounds and a few other sounds that are letters. So we're hoping to be adding a lot more to this to make this so much more educational. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. If you have a request, make sure that you guys do the same. I'll be more than happy to help you guys out. Thanks, and have a good time programming, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, guys. Happy